Fly, Eagles, fly. Welcome to the Nest Out West, where Eagles fans are always the best. I will always ride or die for this team, and when I'm gone, please bury me in green. Now I don't want to come off like I'm bragging, but I'ma bring the heat like an effing dragon. You could call me Fuego, aka Phillyzilla, coming to you like the Thriller in Manila. Lots of collabs and live streams galore. You're gonna love what I have in store. Giving you my all, I always will try. And just remember, it's fly, Eagles, fly. Yeah. What is good? What is going on? And what is cracking? I am Philly Foothills, and I am back in the Nest Out West, where I'm trying to bring you the best when it comes to Philadelphia Eagles content on YouTube. And tonight, I am very, very excited because I got one of the greatest on YouTube as doing the Eagles, not only Eagles content, but also Sixers content. I got my guy, Philly Mike, of the Philly Talk podcast. What's going on, my guy?
Hey, hanging in there, man. Middle of the week, hump day, Wednesday, and all I can think about is training camp.
Right? That is definitely right around the corner. Definitely want to have all my Phillies definitely welcome in Philly Mike into the nest. We really appreciate you coming on with me, especially like you said, middle of the week. I know you have a very busy schedule with the family and work and everything like that. So it's very much appreciated. And
The Eagles are part of the family too. I can always squeeze them in. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, my friend. I appreciate you definitely. And there's some little bit of news came out today in regards to Zach Ertz came out and said that he's going to be participating day one in training camp. And, as of now, he's going to be, a member of more than likely a member of the 2021 roster. So what are your thoughts and feelings about that?
Yeah, I dropped the video about that. Not just that, because I know this is like a news that we kind of already felt was coming with the lack of reports going on with us moving him or cutting him. The Steven Nelson tweets always keep us engaged because when he talks about something coming up, we got to think that Zach Ertz is tied to it because of the money situation. But I can't be mad at it. The Eagles need some things on defense, and he's kind of being the piece that is preventing us from it. But let's not act like Zach Ertz ain't a valuable asset. He's had down years because of injuries and just the ongoing shenanigans that's been going. And I'm not going to tell you guys that I'm happy that he was moping around last year before he got hurt. Right. But I think he knows as well as anybody else know it's a business. I think he got all that out, whether it was a lot of bad blood or not. He's going to have to audition for a team because if he finds himself on the Philadelphia Eagles in 2021, he'll be a free agent next year. And definitely, he's going to be available for a team like Green Bay to get one more push for Aaron Rodgers, or Buffalo to help out Stephon Diggs, or a contender. And they're not going to sign him if he's old, washed up looking Ertz. So I think he has a lot to play for. And look at the skill players: Jalen Reagor, Devontae Smith, Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert. These guys are young. And so we talked about getting a veteran wide receiver. Ertz will be the veteran in the group. Like I said, I advocated all offseason for him to leave just because I think it's best for both of us. But if he's here, I'm not going to complain as long as he's, playing Eagle football and giving it his all. I think it's only going to help as a weapon. It takes away from our defense, but we got to see how it goes. I need him to have his head in the game, but we'll see.
Yeah. And that's, you kind of touched on a little on it for me. It's about giving it his all. Is he going to put self-preservation ahead of, putting his full effort out there on the field, things like that. So that's definitely a concern for me. And he's going to have to adapt his game. And I was watching live with Joe Castro earlier, and he mentioned something that, really kind of caught my attention. And it's a really good point. When Zach Ertz was drafted into the NFL, Brent Selleck had to adjust his game because he wasn't going to be the top tight end anymore. He wasn't going to be the top target anymore. So he had to work on his game, and he became a better blocker. And that had definitely contributed. The year we won the Super Bowl, he was blocking for guys like LeGarrette Blount, Jay Ajayi, and that's how Brent Selleck was able to stay on the field and be able to contribute.
So, if Zach Ertz is going to want to be able to get paid again, he's going to have to adapt his game a little bit, I think, like that. And he's going to have to, because if it comes down to whether he's able to consistently block well enough for this run game and be out there on the field consistently, then that may be a detriment to him, possibly.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, but see, the thing is, Brett Selleck had to stay a couple more years after. Zach Ertz knows there's only one more year, possibly getting moved at the trade deadline. Let's just say the Eagles are doing. Let's say the Eagles' offense looks mighty fine, and there's a red light flashing on the defense somewhere, and we see Dallas Goedert balling. Maybe he's a piece that's moved in season. So, I mean, we could be really bad in any moves. We could be really good in these moves and missing a piece. I just think him coming in with a straight head, it got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely agree with you. So, and if I've been saying it, for a minute, that definitely I didn't think that he was going to get traded at all, and I really couldn't see us cutting him either. So it's kind of playing out like I thought, and it's going to be interesting to see, like you said, if he ends up with somebody like Green Bay, because that name caught my eye when you said that, because I've been saying that it would be interesting to see him in that offense, because that would make that offense give it a whole another dimension and be that much more dynamic, with being able to have a weapon on the inside as well. So because the Eagles, we definitely have, we have to be careful with where we send him, because he's still going to be competitive. If we end up trading him after this year, or if he ends up signing somewhere else, that's going to be the tough thing. I don't know, or trading him mid-season. I don't know that could be a possibility. Definitely, if a team comes to calling, if he starts, producing out in the field, it's definitely a possibility of us moving him mid-season. So we got to be, diligent in that department as well. But as far as I wanted to ask you about Jalen Hurts, and whether you think if Jalen Hurts succeeds this year. Let me pull this up real quick. Oh no, my bad. I apologize. So what I was going to ask you was, if Jalen Hurts, succeeds this year, and say he wins 8 to 9 games, do you think that's gonna secure Howie's job?
I think Howie is definitely going to be looked at over this next year and how things unfold. I don't think we need to be like a contending team for Howie to keep his job. I just think if the needle's pointing up, Howie's going to get credit for it. Just because even though he put us in this situation with some of the contracts post Super Bowl and stuff, we were trying to keep that run alive, whether it was Alshon Jeffrey, adding Deshaun Jackson, making a couple crazy moves here and there, but mainly, signing Carson Wentz and then not really believing in him. That was a downfall of the Eagles and the organization. I think Howie learned a little bit. I think he had Nick Sirianni's had his ear in the draft process and stuff like that, not doing those 7-on-7s and working on fundamentals. Was that a Howie move? It looked like a Nick Sirianni move. So I think he learned a little bit. And if I'm looking at the draft, Howie killed it. Whether we like Landon Dickerson or not, or it was a 2 risk reward, we know what he can do when he's on the field. It can possibly be a high risk and not a reward if he can't stay healthy. But just getting Devontae Smith and a first-round pick when we would have settled for Devontae Smith possibly at 6, if that's the way it kind of played out, was a success. And so I think Howie still needs to get some football mind in here to help him. But look, I'm not a Howie fan by any means. But right now, as things are going and the way we're feeling, it's a wait-and-see process. And as long as, the situation gets better, I'm not going to be mad at whose name is the one doing it. I do think, and I was happy when we had a guy like John Dorsey, because I thought Howie's going to do what he does best, and he might mental in some of that stuff. But John Dorsey, a football mind, a guy who rebuilt Cleveland, as long as you have him there, I think things will stay pretty even keel. And so I'm just hoping we can get a guy in there like that, and we'll see where we go. And hopefully it's not Jeff Lurie overseeing Howie, because you really don't know. I mean, Jeff Lurie has been more involved over these last couple of years than we normally hear or see. So it's a process. Right now, Howie's flat dab in the middle with me. He's done some good things just to go from -60 to positive and get Anthony Harris and Eric Wilson, a Ryan Kerrigan, a couple depth pieces, and sign our rookies. You got to give him credit for that, even though the hole was put by him, trying his best to keep this Super Bowl run going, and we failed doing it.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely true. The Howie Roseman is definitely gonna, it's gonna be interesting to see, because I mean, aren't you, if he is the GM come next offseason, aren't you going to be very nervous with him possibly having 3 first-round draft picks, and what, the possibilities of, how that could all pan out?
Of course, you know what I mean? Like that's the most concerning thing, is what he does in the draft hasn't always panned out. But I will say this, like I said, I think we're going to know a lot this season. I think Jeff Lurie is really going to assess the situation. There could easily be a move or somebody added to the GM room. So I think Howie's going to be on his P's and Q's. When Howie's pressed up against it, that's when he comes out and he's normally not the weasel he normally is and stuff like that. So we're just going to have to see. Like, if I'm in charge, if I'm Jeff Lurie, okay, I'll start over. I would have started over when I resetted the whole thing, but I'm just thinking as the Eagles organization, and I'm giving you an answer, not just what Philly Mike wants, what I honestly think will happen. I just don't see, without an epic failure, Jeff Lurie giving up on Howie. So I think we got to learn to love it and just hope that we get football minds in there to help him out, because he does do a lot of good. Just there is some bad there too, that a football mind could definitely flip the script. And Jalen Hurts is going to be pretty much the determining what Howie does with his picks. Do we build around him, or do we go for a Watson if he's cleared, or we do get one of these top 5 quarterbacks, and we will wait and see. But I'm definitely excited for the upside of Hurts.
Yeah. So from this new coaching staff, who's gonna kind of be more of the guys you're gonna have your eye on this year?
I mean, I'm going to have my eye on everybody for the simple fact that they're all new. I mean, our linebacker coach is as old as the linebackers he's coaching, younger than some of them.
Yes,
but
sir.
Of course, Nick Sirianni, just the fact that, he talks a good game, and so does Jonathan Gannon and all these guys, but he's the guy who now has to string everything together. When it's just him drawing up plays and being in the background in Indianapolis, it's okay, but now he's the guy. If one of his guys go bad, we have to look at him. If a player goes bad, we look at him. If we lose a game on a crucial call, we look at him, and there's no real experienced coach to lean on. Jeff Stoutland's there, and I love him to death. And he's a GOAT when it comes to offensive line, but he's not an experienced like play caller or that sorts. See, when Doug Peterson came here and he was unknown and a little goofy, Jim Schwartz, whether you like him or not, was a head coach for the Detroit Lions, so he knows whether it's calling plays on defense, being in that situation. If Doug said to him on the sideline, man, like, look, just leaned on him for some moral support. He had, well, when I was in Detroit, this happened. There's not nobody on this roster that can do that. And I do have trust in Nick Sirianni, but it's how he strings along these coaches. You know what I mean? JG looks good. The linebacker coach looks energized. The defensive back coach looks good. The D-line coach looked good, but how is Nick Sirianni going to oversee this being young and a first-timer? And that's where the bumps might come through. And Philly got to relax a little bit if we come out the gate a little bit slow. It's a new everything minus the GM, and we just got to be patient. It's not easy for Philly to be patient, but we got to wait and see.
Yeah. And then that's where a lot of us have been seeing it over and over again, right? It's a wait and see thing. We just got to be patient. And I know that's definitely not in Philly's vocabulary at all when it comes to our, sports teams and things like that. So, but, you're right though. We do kind of have to be a little patient. Definitely. This is like you said, it's a whole new era. It's a whole new regime. And, it's a definite possibility that we could come out slow out the gate. So, definitely we have to kind of expect that possibly, but we're all being very, I think, optimistic for the most part, and I'm excited to see what kind of formations and things like that Sirianni and Stecken put these guys in. How they use these chess pieces to the to the game board, definitely. So it's gonna be exciting to see, definitely. So speaking of pieces, new and I'm asking you, I want to ask you this: which new pieces on both sides of the ball are you excited to see this year?
Well, I'm just excited to see the running back room come in on the offensive side. Is something that we wanted Doug Peterson to just do, run the ball. Like I said, Nick Sirianni, I'm worried about him when it comes to just running everything, but I think he's going to be able to orchestrate a beautiful scenario when it comes to, making the pass play, feed off the run game, knowing to call plays in the first quarter that lead to plays in the second quarter. Just the West Coast offense getting the ball into these playmakers' hands. We got a multitude of running backs in the room, some bruisers, some scat backs, Kenneth Gainwell, slot receiver, running back, who knows. When it comes to the running back room, I think it's going to be key to Jalen Hurts' success. The RPO is deadly when you got a Russian quarterback who gets freaky, as Jalen Hurts said to Steve Mariucci before he was even drafted. And then, like you said, look at that Saints film. It was just deadly. Both Hurts and Sanders over 100 yards rushing. So the rushing game, are we going to be outside zone running? Are we going to be doing some I like outside zone running scheme, to be honest. But I just want to make sure that we utilize all the running backs, and I think Nick Sirianni will do that, because when he had a quarterback that could, and I'm not saying Jalen Hurts can't sling it, they'll sling the rock, but it's a lot of pressure for a guy to come out here with a new group of guys. I'm talking to wide receivers and stuff, and just sling the rock. So the running game is going to be crucial. And Nick Sirianni, under Frank Wright's system, when they had Andrew Luck, they were top in passing. When they had Jacoby Brissett, they were top in rushing. And when they had Phillip Rivers, they were right in the middle. So he definitely plays to the strength. And again, I don't want to discredit Hurts' throwing ability, but any young player out the gate needs help. And the run game, especially a run game featuring all these backs, and new back Kenneth Gainwell, should definitely pay dividends to the success of the Eagles offense. So that's what I want to see there. And on the defensive side of the ball, it's hard to say. I want to see some flying linebacker in play. You know what I mean? I feel confident in the D-line. Once the secondary gets the full strength minus the CB2, I think they'll be okay-ish. I think Gannon's going to make a real priority to help out CB2 and roll coverage. But rolling coverage of CB2 is going to leave these linebackers out in the open. And so I'm waiting to see what a young Davion Taylor, Sean Bradley, a new Eric Wilson, and a second-year Alex Singleton off a pretty strong first year do in a Gannon system where they can be more free. They're not just forced to hit the gaps because what's his name? I lost his name. Schwartz. Yeah, he's long gone now. I just said his name, Jim Schwartz, earlier. I'm tired today. But Jim Schwartz with the Y9, that puts a lot of pressure on the linebackers to hit their gaps. And so with a young linebacking core, I like them being free, and I want to see them fly around.
Yeah, definitely. And my attention is going to be a lot on the linebacking core this year, because we have some new pieces there. We have some young pieces as well that we need to get on the field, I feel, and see what we can get out of those younger guys. So yeah, like you said, because the linebacker coach, is very, very young. He's only 27, 28 years old, somewhere around there, and he's younger than some of these guys. So it's going to be, I'm hoping it's going to gel. It's going to mesh very well. Hopefully it will. Sometimes that doesn't always work out when you get too young of a coach in there, but I think we have a good mix at the linebacker position of veteran guys and also some younger guys that it's gonna work out pretty well. But speaking of I think going back to the offensive side of the ball, do you and with Zach Ertz staying for now, at least as it is, how do you how do you see do you see Goddard really putting up big numbers this year in this offense?
Yeah, I think it's just going to switch roles. I think when you saw that season, not last year, the year before, 2019 season, where Dallas Goedert was still inside the top 10. I think Zach Ertz was third in the NFL when it comes to tight ends and yards, and Dallas Goedert was like inside the top 10. He was either 10 or 9. I think that switches. Goddard definitely got to be the feature guy, and all the articles talking about Zach Ertz returning says that he's going to be second fiddle to Zach Ertz. I mean, to Dallas Goedert, which is a must. You know, he's in a contract year. Whether he gets big numbers or not, you're going to have to look at his, yards per catch situation, because he is going to split the field with Zach Ertz. If you have a weapon that is as good as Zach Ertz, you can't just leave him off the field, but you definitely got to feature Dallas Goedert. See, here's the thing. The last couple years of Zach Ertz's career, when he was in his prime, minus the Super Bowl season, we didn't get a bona fide number one wide receiver out there. And so when we played any team, the defensive coordinator said, okay, we got to bracket coverage Zach. We got to put double teams on him. We got to chip him at the line of scrimmage. They gave all the focus to Zach, and he was still able to produce for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why I say if he goes to any of these teams, the Packers, the Bills, any of these teams that have some number one wide receivers and some quarterback play, he's going to go back to Zach Ertz. And that's why he might be able to show his worth while Dallas Goedert is getting his, if Devontae Smith is everything we think he is, and I do believe he's a stud. Nick Sirianni will run some 12-man personnel for the simple fact it helps out the run game. It helps out pass protection. And and we have tight ends that can beat man-to-man coverage. Goddard will give him the works. So will Zach Ertz. He might be slow, no yards after the catch, but yards after the catch for Zach Ertz, yeah, he's slow. We can see it, but one of the reasons why is because the defense always knows where 86 is. But if number 6 is giving them fits and they start rolling coverages over there, now 86 is going to eat any man-to-man up no matter what. You can't. A cornerback might stay with him, but he's too long. Catch radius is mine. And a linebacker, good night, Irene. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think people think that we're going to get an Ertz that is mopey and just And yes, I think moving him and getting the money will help this team, but he is going to eat because it's for his benefit too. He doesn't want to get picked up by the Detroit Lions next year. You know what I mean? He wants to get, it will be his decision, you know what I mean? And if he prioritizes money or contention, but he wants to get paid by somebody who can contend. Zach Ertz hungry.
He is. He is still hungry, definitely. But speaking of D God, do you see him being a top 10 tight end in the NFL this year?
Like I said, statistically, it's going to go down a little bit because you're going to have the number one tight ends eating a lot more. But when you look at him in a sample size, so like if he might have 30 less catches than a number one tight end. But when you look at yards per catch, games, touchdowns, and just impact on the game, he's going to leave that stamp. I have the absolute most confidence in Dallas Goedert ability. It's about staying healthy for him now and not getting punched in the face in the offseason, which I think he can do. I think he can not get punched in the face in the offseason, and I think he can stay healthy. So I think Dallas Goedert got all the attributes. I'm ready to see him.
Yeah. So who do you see, in your opinion, who do you think is going to lead the team in touchdowns this year? In receiving touchdowns.
It's tough. Now, Devontae Smith is a player who definitely finds the end zone. I mean, he called a touchdown as a true freshman in a championship game. Zach Ertz got a nose for the end zone. However, I do think, again, he's going to be in limited snaps, but you will see some 12-man around the goal line, especially if we run out the lineup where it's Devontae Smith and Jalen Reagor. And say Travis Fulgham can't get on the field. I'm not saying he can't, but let's just say he's having up and downs and Greg Ward is slotting in there or Quez Watkins. He don't got that true X wide receiver. Well, now you got Dallas Goedert as your go-to guy in the red zone. Same with Zach Ertz, because let's not forget we lined Zach Ertz out there in the X position multiple times, let him eat in the red zone. I think when he caught that diving catch in the Super Bowl, he was outside and slanted in. So
Oh yeah.
we're going to utilize him. If Zachary, it's hard. I think the tight end position was going to get the bulk of the touchdowns. And because I think this team is going to be spread out because I don't know how reliable Smith will be as a volume guy because of size. The size doesn't matter to me necessarily to be great, but to be a volume catcher, I just don't know. I got to wait and see. So if you ask me right now and I had to bet, I would still say Dallas Goedert probably.
Okay. So like of the receivers that we retained from that we drafted last year, the three, of Rieger, Watkins, and Hightower that are still on this team right now, who do you see emerging this year?
Out of the receivers?
Yeah.
Not named Devontae Smith, you said?
Yeah. Out of the three from last year that we drafted.
I'm a big Quez Watkins guy. I just don't know how much opportunity he's going to get early. I think as he works, they're going to give him more opportunities, more snaps. I think they're going to sprinkle him in, and when they see, oh wow, the explosiveness, the route running that he's been working on in the offseason, they're going to keep him in because of his speed and size. 6 foot, 4.35, second to Henry Ruggs in the combine. But I think Reagor is going to step up. Like Travis Fulgham showed us a 4-game sample size of, wait a minute, who's this guy? But then he did tail off, and I do think he has a chance, but I expect a lot more out of Reagor, and I think he needs a play caller who's going to run some type of spread because nobody runs just one system now. So we will do some spread offense, but the West Coast offense is going to fit Jalen Reagor even more than it fits Devontae because that's what he did. Jet sweeps, quick passes. He got a quick twitch. He came out of the college second to CeeDee Lamb and Yak for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to get him. I'm not saying he can never go deep, but there's so many ways you can utilize a Jalen Reagor. Look at Deebo Samuels. I'm not saying he runs as hard as Deebo, but with the little bit of heavy hitting he can do and the quick twitch, I think Jalen Reagor steps up and surprises us a lot more than what people think. I think they're going to just from rookie season to now, I think you're going to see head and shoulders a different Jalen Reagor. So I'm big on him this season.
Yeah, and the only reason that scares me a little bit because if he's succeeding, that means that Hurts is succeeding too, and that's just going to give Howie even more of an argument to be retained as our GM. So that's the only reason that scares me a little bit. But you know what I'm saying? It's just it's kind of like, well, don't you feel as Eagles fans with Howie as our GM, we're walking on eggshells? It feels like that. It just kind of does. It feels uneasy, and there's just that kind of I don't like to say black cloud, but we've had our troubles with him definitely in the past and things like that, and I'm definitely not a Howie Roseman fan at all either. So it is what it is, but we're just gonna have to kind of just let it play out and things like that. But I want to ask you too, how good do you see this offensive line being this year? I mean, do you think we could, if we stay healthy, how many Pro Bowlers potentially could we have on this offensive line, do you think?
Yeah, man, this offensive line together as a unit is just so solid. Just the snap counts that are shared between Kelsey, Brooks, and Lane, the success that they've had as a group is so important to not just the line itself, but to their individual stats. You know what I mean? There's a brotherhood that knows each other in and out. I think Kelsey had a lot of problems at the line snapping the ball just because he was trying to get guys who he does not know and not familiar with set on the line count because the center controls all that. There's a legit stat out there that 80% of the time the Eagles win if that right side is intact, meaning Lane Johnson and Brandon Brooks. It hasn't been intact for a long time. Lane's healthy, no Brandon Brooks. Brooks healthy, no Lane Johnson. It's been Brooks the most, but Lane's starting to catch up. So if you're telling me we're healthy, I think we have the best right side in football. I'm not saying he's better than, like Brandon Brooks is not better than Zach Martin one-on-one, but when you look at every team out there, they might have a better right guard than us, but not a better right tackle, and vice versa. So when you look at right tackle and right guard combination, and then you extend it to the center, we got the best middle to right side in the game. The left side is going to be what we got to watch. I love Jordan Mailata, but he's still got things he got to work on. Who wins the battle, Andre Dillard or Mailata? And Sam Alou is a guy who's just solid. If he's on another team, he's getting talked about like a B- player, a C+, B- player. But when you got Hall of Famer Kelsey, Hall of Famer Brooks, Hall of Famer Lane, and once upon a time, Hall of Famer Jason Peters,
Right.
that C+, B- looks to be the weak link, but he's not necessarily a bad player. It's going to be interesting what happens with Landon Dickerson, but I honestly see us inside the top 10, maybe pushing top 5 to 8 if healthy. And please, God, let that be, because I'm tired. Just tired.
Please. Yeah, we've had way too many injuries on the offensive line and things like that over the past couple of years. So yeah, we're definitely due for a break in that department, and hopefully that it plays out that way. But outside.
Let me ask you, Foothill, do you think the coaching staff what do you think could attributed all the injuries in the Doug Peterson era? Was it just luck, bad luck, or do you think it had anything to do with the coaching staff? What is your take on that? I want to know.
Yeah, that's a good question, definitely, and I think it's I think it's kind of a combination of things. I think it's a combination of some bad luck, definitely, but it also had to do with, I think it had to do with lackadaisical coaching, lackadaisical training, lackadaisical preparation, lackadaisical practicing. That all, when you even as simple things as stretching, things like that. When you do things half-assed, when you don't do it all the way, when you don't put in your full effort, and you don't have, good coaches behind those players, making sure that that's really what's happening, what's really taking place, then that's my take on it. That's what I think has definitely a big contributor to our injuries and the just the amount. It's too coincidental to have that many injuries in that short a time. It's just it definitely raises some eyebrows, don't you think?
Yeah, man. Like I said, Deshaun Jackson ain't the healthiest guy, but prior to coming here, when he played for Tampa, double-digit games. Washington, double-digit games. Eagles, nope. Jordan Hicks leaves us, healthy. Jordan Howard, healthy, comes to us, nope. Malik Jackson, healthy, comes to us, nope. Hargrave comes to us, nope. Rager, healthy in college, nope. And so I think Doug being a player's coach, that's where at the end of the season, when we needed to make a push, he knew how to rally the troops. But I think in an everyday preparation standpoint and player developing, as you just said, lackadaisical. And I think that's why certain players, regressed or didn't reach their full potential. And in the same time, taking off. And that's why JC Eagle Talk, shout out to you. He asked me about these, training camp and scrimmages. Look, we've been going too soft on these players, and they're getting hurt left and right. Mm-hmm. Let these guys play. You know what I mean? It's scary to let these guys play because an injury can happen, like Cam Akers and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we've been having these same injuries and treating them soft. So I'm ready to just flip the script and just say go out, because sometimes it's scary putting extra beating on extra, playing, hitting, all that stuff on your body, but at least your body's used to it rather than not being used to it, trying to get the game speed quick and boop, something pulls.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, because we've shown so much favoritism to some of these older players, wouldn't surprise me either if the medical staff was saying one thing and then the coaching staff was going to the player and going, hey, do you feel like you could play? And the player's going, yeah, I could play. But really, when guys like if it came to guys like Jason Peters, we all seen time and time again him just getting hurt over and over again, and then just letting him go back out on the field, and even replacing guys who are being productive like a Jordan Mailata. I mean, that drove me absolutely crazy last year. I was pulling out the little bit of hair that I have left, as an almost 40-year-old man. But just it's it's definitely we've been using this expression a lot, a breath of fresh air, just to have, I was so glad that we retained Stoutland because, like you said, he is an absolute GOAT when it comes to offensive line coaches, and just to see him continue to be able to groom and grow Mulata on that left tackle spot, I think Mulata's going to have that locked down. And that's another thing I was going to ask you too. What do you think? How do you see this thing panning out for Dillard? He is a first round pick. How he doesn't like to part with first round picks a lot, and where's he going to fit in?
Yeah, Mulata showed a lot, but let's not say that he's fully done. There were times in his game, if you look up his stats, he did allow, maybe don't quote me on this, but maybe 4 to 6 sacks, something like that. He allowed some stuff, but
True.
He was going off of just general strength and speed. He got to work on his hand placement, but you've seen growth game in and game out. You've seen hustle, you've seen fight, you've seen heart, helping the quarterback up. I mean, look at that play against Quez Watkins. He blocked 3 guys on that. Look how, the whistle's not blown. He's pancaking people 15 yards down the field, helping his quarterback up, just always there doing the right thing. Andre Dillard is going to compete. I don't think he'll win it, but he will compete. He sounds very determined in his offseason podium session. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stoutland said that he was in the room the whole time with his shoulder being messed up, and they was quizzing him, and he knows the stuff. We didn't move up to 17 for no reason. I saw signs of a good left tackle in the couple starts he had, minus when he put him on the right side and he lost total confidence. Nick Sirianni is preaching competition everywhere, and this is the one competition that we really got to see. Iron sharpens iron. I definitely want to see them compete, and I do think Mulata will win it, but I'm not going to be surprised if Dillard doesn't take it back, and that is a good thing to have. If Dillard's not a guy who I think can move around the line like Mulata can because of his versatility. But, let's be sure that I think Nick Sirianni preaching competition. Howie Roseman's goal is who makes more money, they start. Who was the higher draft pick, they start. But if Nick Sirianni's been saying competition, like right in Howie's ear, Howie can't, right away, if we're talking about competition, beat reporters are saying that Dillard is not better than Mulata, and Dillard still starts. Well, then that Nick Sirianni doesn't have control of anything really. So we're gonna see. But I think Howie Roseman is co-signing his competition thing. So I think it's gonna be a open competition. I'm not saying Dillard could win, but I wouldn't be shocked because I do think there's more to Dillard than the average Eagle fan.
Yeah. And you as an Eagles fan, what was your initial feelings on the Dickerson pick, in the second round? And are you getting, do you need to see him out on the field this year? Is that a must for you being a second round pick, or are you okay with, him kind of, letting, getting him completely right, things like that? I want to hear your thoughts on Dickerson, and are you getting nervous about, him not being signed yet?
Nah, I think he's going to be signed soon. I just don't know exactly what it is. Just some dotting the I's, crossing the T's. Here's the thing, I know Dickerson is going to be a powerhouse when he plays, but it's scary drafting a guy who has 3 season-ending injuries, and you only get bigger. You know what I mean? He's not going to get smaller going into the NFL. You're only going to be working harder. And so it's scary. I mean, I can't deny it. Is he a great talent? Would he be in a first-round pick if he wasn't injured? Yep. But here's the thing, and I'm not trying to just – look, I like Landon Dickerson. I think he can be a staple of this offensive line going forward if he's healthy. It's just a guy who had injury history as bad as he does, going to a team that has his injury history as bad as we do, is like, that is not right. He goes to the Patriots. He goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that, but I just think O-line is always important. You can never go wrong with O-line, D-line. That's a staple of this franchise, and it will not stop. Even if Howie leaves, it's just the way you go. That's where Andy Reid started it all. You build in the trenches. Howie took it over, and that's what you do. All the best teams have them. But Asante Samuel Jr., I will be watching him slowly but surely. Like if the Eagles, if we don't get a CB2 and McPherson's getting cooked and Madison's getting cooked, and I'm over there looking at a Los Angeles, the Eagles not playing today, and I got on Red Zone and I see a pick six from a possible new Deuce Jr., I'll be upset. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to just come out and question Dickerson and stuff like that. But, you know, it's a high risk, high reward. You know, Samuels went, like 8 or 9 picks after us. So maybe it was a reach where we were. But at the end of the day, you know, I saw a lot of people on the board. And so I'm going to be paying attention. But if Dickerson is healthy, if you just guarantee me he was healthy, I say, what a steal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because if he's healthy, that he's first round talent. I mean, he's probably top 15, top 20 for sure. I think in the first round. So yeah, he was that. I mean, outside of the injuries, he was that dominant as you know, an offensive lineman in college football. You know, at Florida State and even more so at Alabama. So I mean, do you need to see him out on the field this year?
No, I want to make sure he's healthy as much as possible. Like I said, look, if the Eagles won a Super Bowl, I won't be complaining. You know what I mean? I just don't think we're there. I think we're at a point where we have so many new pieces. It could easily go south, but the pieces are enticing enough that I can see us competing for this division, but not too much more. But if we can get a brand new everything minus the GM and compete for a division, we are on the right track with what we have. Watch out 2022, 2023, 2024. But that's where we got to go. And I'm ready. I'm ready to wait to 2022, 2023 to see Dickerson if that's going to guarantee me the first round talent, Landon Dickerson.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. So, you know, obviously after we stole Devontae from the Crybaby G-Men and Co Drizzle, who was your favorite draft pick in this past draft? Who are you excited? You know, who do you think is going to get on the field, and you're excited to see as an Eagle and him playing going forward?
Well, again, I think we did a good job not exactly going for need and just trying to get talent. Milton Williams was a pick that I wasn't really familiar with when he was picked, but I did as much due diligence as I could. I like his versatility, might be able to play some outside as well. But I think, you know, McPherson is going to be a guy who can possibly get tossed into the fire earliest. When you look at Devontae Smith being the guy who's going to get playing time, Landon Dickerson sitting out, Milton Williams behind a boatload of tough defensive tackles, you know, and then it goes McPherson. You know, you got the D tackle, Lodi Boom. I don't know how to say his name.
We just call him Big T.
Big T, there you go.
Yeah.
I think, you know, Kenneth Gainwell might get some snaps because of his versatility in the slot, but McPherson is, I'm not saying is going to be the best of these other ones, but, you know, one injury to our secondary and McPherson, first of all, McPherson might get playing time. If Avonte Maddox goes outside, which I'm not a fan of, then McPherson in the slot or vice versa, McPherson outside and Avonte in the slot, because that's all we got. Well, now the 4th round pick is getting tossed out week 1, right? If he doesn't get tossed out week 1 and we put Jaquette out there and he gets beat up, he might be out there week 2. You know what I mean? If we don't go get, and here, I don't want to say this because I hate talking about this, but here's the reason why we just need cornerback depth. Because what if Darius Slay goes down, right? So he goes down, right? So now guys who we can't even pick to play CB2, one of the guys we can't pick to play CB2 got to play CB1. And the guy who couldn't be, the guy who can't play CB2 got to play CB2. And then the boatload of unknown names got to come in nickelback situations. So I don't think we just need one DB that's known. We could use some depth there because we do got a Josiah Scott. Anthony Meadows. These guys. And look, They can't make the Jaguars roster, but they can make ours. You know, you got to question that. And listen, maybe they didn't get their opportunity. I know. Look, we see Victor Cruz was a practice squad guy too until he got a chance, and then he started salsa dancing in the end zone. You never know. But in the offseason, when I'm trying to prepare, I don't know, and hopefully I don't have to know. You know what I mean? And you never really know. But I'm just saying, you cannot go wrong with offensive linemen, defensive linemen, and cornerbacks. You got to get the quarterback, and you got to stop the quarterback. DBs and defensive ends never can go wrong. And I just think we need a guy. Like, if we didn't sign Steven Nelson and we went out and got Kirkpatrick or Brian Poole, I wouldn't be as happy. But any guy who's played in the NFL at any type of level, just in case, you know, we're too thin.
Yeah, and I was hoping, you know, we would maybe even get one in with, you know, some of the undrafted free agents, but we didn't even get a corner there. So, you know, that's another thing I was going to ask you. You know, I don't know how familiar you are with the undrafted free agents that we have left, but, you know, do you, especially out now that Jamie Newman and Trevon Grimes are gone? I mean, do you see any of these? You see any of these guys even making the practice squad this year?
I'm not sure. I mean, even guys like Jacoby Stevenson, 7th round pick, they're going to be fighting for a spot. Patrick Johnson, these guys are going to be fighting for spots. I don't know. And when you look at our secondary, it goes deep. You got the Graylin Arnolds, the Shaquille Taylors, the Michael Jaquettes, but, you know, again, a diamond in the rough could easily come through, but I just think you got to have just a little bit more depth there. And I'm not, it's hard to really say about undrafted free agents because, you know, look, Anthony Harris was an undrafted free agent. Jason Peters was an undrafted player, but you don't normally see them until later down the line. If you're an undrafted player and you become a stud, it's normally not till 2 or 3 years down the line. A couple people let you go for this, that, and the third, or maybe you were overlooked because of this. You know, Quentin Michael, I think, was undrafted. So there is some in there. But here's the thing. When people bring up, and as I'm bringing up, Jason Peters, a Hall of Famer, undrafted, like I just said, Anthony Harris, a pretty solid guy, undrafted. Well, you're like, there's hundreds and there's thousands of undrafted people, though. So if every year, if every 2,000 undrafted people, there's 3 people that make a name for themselves, it's still odds are, you know what I mean? It's not heads or tails.
Yeah, definitely. And we have a couple of pretty crowded room. You know, we have some, like you said, we have a lot of competition on this team this year. We have crowded rooms in the wide receiver room and in the running back room. And so I wanted to talk about that with you and see who you think, you know, is going to make this team. As you know, we'll start with the running backs. Who do you, as you know, obviously Miles is going to make the team, but outside of Miles Sanders, you know, who do you see making this team, and who's going to be on the bubble?
It's hard for me to pick which bruiser is going to actually make it because I don't know where Jordan Howard is. Right. Look, Jordan Howard in his prime and Kerryon Johnson in his prime, Jordan Howard beat him easily. Kerryon Johnson came out talented. The injuries hurt him, but you know, Jordan Howard was that dude. He was second to Ezekiel Elliott in 17 all the way to 19. You know what I mean? 17 to 19 or 20 or whatever. The year before he came to us. You know what I mean? Yeah. But after that stinger, not being able to get no playing time from Miami, coming back and not getting on the field, like what's wrong with the guy? I don't know. Kerryon Johnson, talented, injured. So I think going to get a guy like Kerryon Johnson off waivers, you don't really that believing in a guy like Jordan Howard. So I think it could be Miles Sanders, Kerryon Johnson, Kenneth Gainwell, and then you keep a guy on the practice squad in case. I don't really see them going 4 running backs deep. Maybe. I think if they're going to go an extra guy, it would be wide receiver, where there's more unproven talent across the board, and they're also young. You can really say, Jordan Howard, we don't want you. You know, Boston Scott, you got a tag, go to the practice squad. You know what I mean? You could do that. And you don't sign a guy like Kenneth Gainwell unless you think he can outperform a guy like Boston Scott, unless we're playing the Giants, and go ahead and bring mighty Ball Scott up, the giant killer. bring him up for 2 weeks. Shout out to my guy B Scott.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he has absolutely been a giant killer, that's for sure, and that's one reason I don't want to see him leave, because I could just see him going. I could see him going to the Giants or going to the football team or something like that, and staying in the division and becoming a pain in our side, because he's definitely not as talented and is not as athletic as a Darren Sproles, but he's got that low center of gravity, and he's hard to tackle at times.
And
so
he's a bowling ball.
He is. Yeah, definitely. I agree. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting, to see with the amount of running back depth that we have now that I don't know if you heard, but Cam Akers went down with the torn Achilles with the Rams. So it's going to be interesting to see who they try to acquire, if they try to acquire anybody. And we do have some pieces to work with, so they could possibly come and knocking on on Howie's door. We'll have to see if that comes to fruition or not. That would definitely be. I don't know. Do you really think losing Cam Akers is going to affect the Rams that much this year?
I mean, he was supposed to be their feature back this season, but they do, I think, still have Henderson. I think they have. I got to look. Cam Akers was supposed to make that big step, but I think the Rams were. Cam Akers was gonna show out. I was gonna pick him up as a sleeper in fantasy and stuff like that. But I think the Rams with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford's going to show his true potential. If the dude stays healthy, the Rams could be a problem.
I've been saying that too. I've been saying that. They're actually my prediction to win the NFC West. I think McVay is going to have them balling out. He got the quarterback that he's been looking for, and Matthew Stafford's he's still in the prime of his career, so he definitely has a lot of football left in him, I think, and he's gonna do some pretty big things in LA. Definitely gonna be watching for that, because that division's gonna be very cutthroat this year, very competitive. Yeah, the NFC West for sure. Yeah, I mean the when training camp starts and things like that, it's going to be fun to watch. These guys start hitting and things like that, and you were speaking of. I was going to ask you something real quick, and it slipped my mind. It was in one of the comments here. Let me see real quick. Oh yeah, Jacoby Stevens. So it looks like they're going to be. It looks like he's going to be playing. They have him listed as a linebacker. He's going to be, playing a lot more linebacker this year. You definitely. I think that's it suits his game more. He's definitely more of that in the box type of guy, and he succeeds down there. Do you see him? I know you said he's going to be fighting for a roster spot, but I'm pretty confident in him down there. Would you be okay with him starting at linebacker, or would you want to see him more of a
role player?
Yeah, a role player piece.
It's tough. I mean, coming from LSU, I mean, he played some big time games. He played alongside of a guy like Jabril Cox, who was just an absolute steal for the Cowboys late in the 5th round. When people talk about him in the 3rd, oh my God, we could have. Anyways,
yeah.
I mean, he's a big time hitter. He can run with some running backs and tight end. That's why he played safety. But down in the box, these running backs who get out into the flats, he can go cover that. A tight end trying to come out there, he can stick them. Not really going to drop into the slot and guard wide receivers. They're a little too shifty for him. Yeah. But that's why we're putting him at linebacker, like a hybrid type. Even Kevon Wallace could play that role. He did at Clemson. So you really got to watch. I think the linebacker room has so much untapped potential, but we got to see. I mean, Davion Taylor, if the X and O's compete up here, I mean, a 4'3" guy who's as physical as him, I think he weighs more than Jacoby Stevens. I had Davion on the channel. He's just a big dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he runs. He tracked down Lamar Jackson. It's just the fact that the way his religion was, he couldn't play football in high school. And then when he transferred to a D2 and back to a D1 college, he's wet behind the ears, but the physical attributes are there. And we can't forget about the guys like Alex Singleton, and even TJ Edwards was playing some decent football before the injury. And we already know that there's one starter. JG already said he's going to probably play the Mike, and that's Eric Wilson. So if Eric Wilson starts in the Mike, You got to look at your Sam and your Will, right? And also think about this. That's in your base 4-3 defense. You're going to have 3 linebackers out there. So if that's the case, you got Eric Wilson, Alex Singleton, and if it's TJ Edwards, or you can put the Davion or the Jacoby Stevens, someone of them, right?
Yeah.
But we're not going to be I forgot. I did a video like 2 months ago on our packages on defense. We're going to play a lot of nickel, and we're going to play more dime this year. We already trended to a lot of dime last year. Not just us, the league is trending to dime because of all the spread wide receivers and just the passing game going forward. So nickel, you got 2 linebackers on the field. Dime, you got 1 linebacker on the field. And when I say 2 linebackers in nickel and 1 in dime, that don't necessarily mean you need to have corners back in, but that's where you can get that hybrid safety, a Kevon Wallace, a Jacoby Stevens to come in, because you still want a little size, but also you want the versatility. So it's gonna be weird how we mix and match. There's gonna be a lot of plays where like we got one of our main legit linebackers out there, and it's just the way the league's going, and that's why you got these hybrid in-betweener type players.
Yeah, I mean, the linebacking position is something that's going to be definitely a key for this defense, because, like you said, there's going to be times when we're mixing and matching guys out there, and some of these guys don't have a lot of playing experience under their belt. Especially the Davion Taylors and the younger guys that we still need to get out there and get more experienced. But I think the defensive line, is going to be pretty solid. I'm really excited to see Coach Rocker and what he can do with some of these pieces that we already had, and now that we've added on to this defensive line. And a lot of people think that Ryan Kerrigan is washed up and he doesn't have anything left. I think it's far from it. I think he's got even more left than Chris Long did when he came to the Eagles. We have to remember that Kerrigan only played less than 35% of the snaps last year, and he still almost had 6 sacks. So the guy could still ball. He could still play at a high level in this league. So I'm excited to see Ryan Kerrigan as an Eagle. For rooting against him for so long as a division opponent, it's going to be kind of weird at first, definitely. But who are you excited to see on this defensive line this year, and who do you see this team? Who do you see emerging as the sack leader on this team this year?
Oof, sack leader. It's gonna be tough. See, I look at this D line, and again, I do love the Kerrigan signing for the simple fact that, look, let's be honest, Brandon Graham, great first half to the season. I think he had in the first 8 games, he had maybe 6, 7 sacks, and then in the second 8, he had 2 or 3.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Why? The motor ran out. He's still a dominant player, knows how to do it, but he's gonna get gassed at an older type. So listen, Kerrigan in his prime, nasty. BG, nasty. Well, if you got these 2 splitting reps, you're keeping them fresh throughout the game, fresh throughout the season, and that means you get the better version of Kerrigan and the better version of Brandon Graham. You don't get 30-year-old Kerrigan and 30-year-old Graham. And
exactly.
Who's to say that Josh Sweat doesn't come in for Brandon Graham a little bit, and Kerrigan come in for a Derek Barnett? I just think the rotation at the defensive end, when you got the youth factor in Josh Sweat and Derek Barnett, and the old veteran factor in them 2 rotating, keeps them fresh, keeps them healthy, and they're going to get at the quarterback. Now, here's the thing, Fletch, he's been catching a lot of slack, and I'm here to say, get off my guy. I'm a big Fletch stan. I'll always be a Fletch stan. Now, let's be honest, though. If we're 0-6, we could trade him because it's over. You know what I mean? I'm a businessman. I understand the game of football and what we need to do going forward. But this Eagles defensive line will be missing a huge piece if Fletch ain't there in the pass rushing attack. But more importantly, against the run, he's a one-man wrecking ball. And I'm here to say I think Fletch is going to come out. He had 6 sacks he had 6 sacks in 2000. And last year he had 6.5 sacks, or
I think that sounds right to me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. Yes.
I know he had 10 sacks total in the last 19 and 20. I just know one was 3.5 and one was 6.5. I just don't know which one. I think the 20 was a 6.5. If somebody in the chat correct me if I'm wrong, one of them was. I think because of the rotation, Graham and Kerrigan, I'm going to come out and say Derek Barnett might lead the team in sacks, and behind him might be Fletch.
Okay.
And you're like, I just made a video saying that if I only had to pay one, I'll pay Josh Sweat over Derek Barnett. But I do think, as of now, Derek Barnett's going to get the first opportunity to get the most snaps. He had 114 more snaps than Josh Sweat. I'm looking for Listen, Josh Sweat got to take a leap because he either got to leave the Eagles or get paid next year. And same with Derek Barnett. Derek Barnett's problem has been health and the fact that, he had a little attitude problems. But this is his fifth-year option because he was a first-round pick. And Josh Sweat, it's his fourth year. It'll be his fourth year. So both of these guys are either going to get paid by the Eagles next year or someone else. So they both got to play. Even if Derek Barnett plays to his first-round potential and the Eagles can't afford him, he's still auditioning for another team. That's what I think it is. If I'm the Eagles and I can secure Josh Sweat and Derek Barnett, I'm doing it. But I'm telling one of them you're playing on the opposite side so both they can play. I'm talking about when the Brandon Grahams and the Brandon Grahams and the Kerrigans leave, which is in a year or two.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think you take Derek Barnett, you flip him to the side, you got Josh Sweat, and you draft more talent there, and we see where we can go. Derek Barnett's going to have a huge game just to either get paid by the Eagles or somebody else if he wants, a decent defensive end type paycheck. But it's going to be hard because of the Eagles have a foundation where they rotate so much. You don't have that Von Miller every snap kill you. You don't have that guy who stays in every snap, and Kerrigan and Brandon Graham are going to have to get rotated out, or you're going to get the older version of them instead of the fresher version. So hot take, Birdman said it. I'm not hugely against Derek Barnett, but I'm not the biggest supporter, but he going to come out and play good.
Okay. Derek Barnett, he better because he's definitely making a lot of money, especially for the production that he's been putting out there on the field and the just the amount of injury time that he's had as a professional is not good either. So it's just he's definitely got to produce this year. He's got to produce this year, like you said, for sure, in a big way. And we'll see. Definitely, it's going to be interesting. But being that you're a big Fletcher Cox guy, and I am too. Fletcher Cox has been a big contributor for this team, and he's definitely a leader on the field. He's more of a he's not so much a vocal leader. He's more of a let me show you on the field type of leader. But he definitely will get in guys' face like a Jalen Mills when they're wilding out and acting a fool out there. Possibly getting personal foul penalties, things like that. He will get up in their face and let them know what's going on and put them in check when he has to. But what I wanted to ask you was, would you be opposed to possibly trade if the Dolphins came to us with a trade scenario where we have to let go of Fletch, but we're getting Xavier Howard? How would you feel about that?
I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to, right? Because like you said, if Slay goes down, who do we have that could be a number one corner? And if you get Xavier Howard, you literally have a number one corner on the other side of Slay. So
yeah, Slay becomes the number two, and that's deadly.
Exactly. So and especially in the system that JG is going to have these guys in, they're not going to be. Schwartz was an idiot when it came to putting Slay in a position to succeed, because he put him in the exact opposite position where to succeed. He put them. He didn't play to Slay's strengths at all, and teams were aware of that, and they definitely took advantage of it. They didn't necessarily even have to throw away from Slay, because the type of system that he played in, it killed him, and it killed his stats and things like that. So it was just, it was frustrating to see, but going forward, hopefully JG is gonna, get these guys in the right spots.
Yeah, and I do want to say this, like I said, even if Barnett performs to our liking, maybe not like over oh wow, look at this. But if he performs to our liking, it's going to be hard to keep him because if you just got them paying, he just got them paying him 10 mil. Say he goes out and gets 9.5 sacks, you're like, oh, that's pretty good. He's going to want another decent contract. Josh Sweat fits the mold, being a 4th-round pick who overachieved, but because his snaps were low, never really got to see the full potential. I think you can get a guy like Josh Sweat on a more team-friendly deal. So I would like to keep them both, unless he stinks, then I'll have to side with my guy Vic 3, who slipped up in here, you know what I mean, and say, get him out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, and that's another guy that needs to get out of here is stinking J-Jaw. You know, he's not even on my roster right now, like my new partner in crime, AK Eagles of Eagles Uncensored. You know, we don't even have him on the roster right now because we're done. We're done. We're done with that guy. He needs to get on the next bus out of Philly along with Ben Simmons, and I think you feel my pain on that as well. You know,
yes,
they both. I think Philly is done with the both of them, and they need to get the hell out definitely. So, you know, it's that was another thing I was going to ask you about too. Was the report out that we're, quote unquote, in the best position to make a move for Deshaun Watson. I want to hear, your thoughts and opinions on that and how you feel.
I mean, look, that move, listen, Deshaun Watson will not play football for any team in 2021. So let's be honest. I'm not happy that this is happening to Deshaun Watson because if it's true, it's disgusting. If it's not, then it's still disgusting and they just still put his name in some dirt. But he's on ice.
Right.
For the Eagles, possibly. I mean, the Eagles are in a perfect situation. He can't play football, so nobody can go get him. We have a whole year to see if Hurts can be the guy. Now, I'm not saying Hurts needs to be Deshaun Watson, but if Hurts shows he can be a future franchise quarterback, a guy we can build, mold, win with, well, now your team is set to advance hot on a fast pace because you got 3 first-round picks. You got some young guys already. You can start investing on replacing the older guys and really building this team to a contender in 22, 23, 24. Sprinkle in some free agents, hit on some draft picks, have some big ones, and really flip the script and not just be let's contend for the division in a legit football team. However, don't want to see this, but Jalen Hurts struggles. He's more of a run-first quarterback. Yeah, I just can't get it done, and you feel like you're going to be in that, even if you get talent around, that he's only going to be that okay kind of quarterback. Well, now you got your options in the draft. You got your options for Deshaun Watson because we are the most equipped team. We're not in the AFC. We got a lot of capital. So it's a win-win. Either Hurts does it, which as my fandom, I want Hurts to be the guy. I love his demeanor. I love his character. I love his work ethic. I love everything about him. I want him to be the guy, and I do believe in the upside of Jalen Hurts. But the football brain I have, I got to see the consistency, which I'm not saying he can't. Any quarterback in the situation that he was put in last year would have struggled. He was a rookie. A lot of things contributed. If Carson Wentz goes over there and balls with the Colts, that's another reason why the whole situation was bad. We will see. But the Eagles are set up with a win-win. Either we got our quarterback and it's time to start spending it. We got our stimulus check and we can spend it on whatever we want, or we have at least here's the thing. We bought a car. We got a car. I got a car from a friend. If my car works great, then I can spend the stimulus on whatever I want. If my car doesn't get me to A and B multiple times in my first year work, well, I can use the stimulus on the car and get one that's going to run good. So At the end of the day, we're good. But the best way to fix the Eagles on the quickness is Jalen Hurts. Be that guy.
Right. 100%. Definitely. And, speaking of the Colts and, and Wentz, that division got, a lot more competitive with the addition of Julio Jones. Yeah, he's no spring chicken and he's had his injuries the past few seasons or so, on and off, things like that. But how do you see that division playing out? And do you see that second round pick that we have from the Colts right now? Do you see that working out in our favor and that becoming a first?
Yeah, I think Carson Wentz is going to get us the first. I do think the Colts are going to be a good team, so I don't think it's going to be an early first. I mean, the best scenario for the Eagles, for the Eagles, is that Wentz plays 75% and they stink. You know what I mean? I don't see it.
Yeah,
right. But Tennessee's going to be tough in that division. AJ Brown, Julio Jones, King Henry. And then a guy like Ryan Tannehill, who's been talked about his whole career, but really found a home in Tennessee. And he's a solid guy. He's not a top 10, but he's probably right around that 14-ish, 15-ish. He's getting the job done because of the run game and, the things that are put around him. Now, their defense is a little sus, but Tennessee is going to be tough. Colts are going to be tough. I don't think the Jags are going to compete, and Texans trash.
Yeah, the Texans are going to be that's going to be a dumpster fire this year for sure.
Sorry, hey, Coach, if Coach, what's his name?
Coach Dante. Yeah,
Coach Dante. I'm sorry, my guy. The Texans
yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, that's gonna be. Hey, he can enjoy a little bit. Hopefully, we're gonna get some W's this year. Because he did pick the Eagles as his secondary team. So he put a little poll out on Twitter the other day, and the Eagles were one of the teams that he was asking if he should join the fandom as a secondary team. He's always gonna be a Texans fan. But shout out to Coach Dante, definitely, and shout out to everybody in the live stream so far. We're 15 strong in the live stream, so thank you guys so much for chiming in with all the comments and everything. And if for some weird reason that you're not subscribed to my man here, Philly Mike, make sure you go check out the Philly Talk podcast. Go subscribe to his content because dude is killing it. He puts out amazing content. He's always putting out interviews. He's putting out videos and lots more, collabs, things like that. So definitely go check him out. Go sub him up. And it's really fun to meet new people, to work with new people, and to meet Eagle fans from all over on this, in this journey of becoming a YouTube content creator. And I really, appreciate you, taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on the Nest with me. I really appreciate it, Mike.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. And listen, if you're coming from my channel, because I did post this in the community section right before we went live, make sure you hit the subscribe button. My guy's almost at a K. That first K means a lot. It definitely does. Sure. Sure. And then Coach Dante, I see you, my guy. Listen, I'm glad you were part of the Eagle squad. I didn't mean the poo-poo on the Texans. Just, it is what it is. Deshaun Watson really was carrying you guys for the bulk of, you making playoff pushes and stuff. And shout out to Marianne Johnson, said Julio missed 4 games and still got 1,200 piece. He's an animal. The only thing that really hurt Julio's career, especially if you're a fantasy player, is he doesn't get touchdowns. But the dude is unstoppable from 20 to 20. He's an animal. And I never understood why Matt Ryan and Julio Jones couldn't connect in the end zone. He's tall, he's physical, he's fast. I never understood why he had red zone trouble. Never.
I know Julio has definitely frustrated a lot of fantasy owners over the years because, like you said, he puts up the yards, but he doesn't put up the TDs, especially compared to some of the other big time wide receivers in the league. That's for sure. Yeah, definitely we definitely didn't mean any disrespect, Coach Dante. Is much love. We're just I think we all know without Deshaun Watson, he's going to be on ice. The Texans, they have a new coach. They have a lot of turnover on that team, a lot of dysfunction. So yeah, it's going to be tough for Houston this year, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, and shout out to all the new content creators. I made my way through all you guys. You know what I mean? Started with AK Eagle, Bird Game 31, JC yesterday, Nest Out West. I still got to get Let's Go Birds was in here. I got to get with him. And then look, by the time I get with all you guys, we be doing the real thing because, we got the very, very dry part for when it comes to content. And it's like that's what it do. You gotta just be creative and hope some news breaks our way. But the season is coming and you'll have your own routines. Everybody does things differently. You'll have pretty much what I do is after a football game, my Mondays are this, Monday through Friday is a nonstop on repeat mode. And that's when the content really comes out. You know what I mean? And hopefully, the content ain't as fun to do when you're pissed off. Like last year was trash. Can't have that.
Right.
You still do it because you bleed green. You know what I mean?
Right.
Instead of me being mad yelling at my wife, I just yell at the camera and y'all get to hear me yell. You know what I mean?
It's sports therapy. It definitely helps. It's a win-win for everybody. You guys enjoy the content. We enjoy bringing it to you. So it's definitely a win-win for everybody. And I definitely hope you guys have enjoyed the live stream. I wanted to ask you a couple more questions before I let you go. As far as being the dominant side of either side of the football, who do you think is going to be the dominant unit? Is it going to be the offense or the defense this year for our Philadelphia Eagles?
I've been saying offense all season, and I still think I'm going to go with the offense. But Birdman, hit me up, my guy. Look, last year, the Eagles' offense was rated 26, and the defense was rated 20th in points per game. So points per game for the offense and points allowed. I'm not talking air yard, stuff like that, because we got torched. And that's how, what's his name? Jim Schwartz always been I'll bend, but I won't break. 20th in points allowed, 26 in points scored. But there's no doubt that the offense is more shored up. The offensive line is in full intact, and we have the best playmakers we've had in a while. Defense has holes, so it got to be offense. But I do think if this D-line gets going, it's going to help out the corners. Ronnie McLeod gets back with Anthony Harris, old college, he was a freshman when he was a senior, but I think that tandem can be great or really solid. The D-line is gonna make us or break us, but the offense has definitely got to be the one to carry, and that's going to be a lot on a young Nick Sirianni, who's the head coach, but he's the offensive-minded head coach, and young Jalen.
Yeah, and that's going to be, the quarterback coach, is going to be very key. Definitely, Brian Johnson. Him and Jalen have a pretty close relationship. Their families have stayed in contact, through the years of when Jalen was in college, and Jalen's dad and BJ are definitely, been close over the years. So, I think he's going to be key in Jalen's growth and development. Don't you think?
Oh yeah. Brian Johnson. Listen, I had Ron Motti on like half a month ago, and Ron Motti said that, Brian Johnson had a I forgot what he said exactly, but he spoke in front of the whole NFL, and he listened to it, and he was just there's so much praise about the way Brian Johnson holds himself. He can see him coming into his own role as moving up the ranks in the NFL sooner rather than later, and you got a guy who can give Jalen tough love coaching because of the bond outside of football and just the credentials of what he has and everything. So I think it's going to go a long way. But real quick, the further AM, listen, I'm telling you, the live streams that pop the most is the pregame and a postgame. Because think about this. No matter what we say in the offseason, it's all about what we do on Sunday, right? And that's going to dictate what we say the days after. So, not just my show, not just other shows. There's going to be so many Eagles shows going from, say we play at 1 o'clock. There's going to be a lot of Eagles shows going between 11 and 12:45, talking all about the anticipation, because now you can really break down Birds versus ? Whoever we're going against. And then you win, you get to come on right after and celebrate, or you get to come on and talk all the reasons why you lost. And that's when it really pops off, the pre and the post game.
Yeah, and I can't wait. I can't wait for that. I'm really excited because, like I said, we were talking a little bit pre live stream. That's I was doing Eagles content last year, but I definitely wasn't in contact with a lot of these content creators that are on here and things like that. So yeah, definitely excited to do a lot of collabing during the season and things like that, and just grinding on my channel, putting out content and enjoying the ride, and see where this Hertz train takes us.
Yeah, definitely. And shout out to you, Further AM. Sorry that happened and whatnot. And I listen, I built my channels through the all season too. This is I'll be 2 years in September, so I'm not long term. But hey, I got a decent amount of subs, and I did build a lot of them in the off season. But it's again, the people who watch in the off season are the most dedicated ones, because there's people, since I've been doing this, which I've been through one season, off season, one season, off season. So I've been through 3 off seasons, 2 seasons. There's people who don't watch my content until football comes back. It's because like when the Eagles lose or they stink, I don't want to hear if we could do this. I want to see it before I listen to you again. So it goes both ways. But listen, when news breaks, when you sign a Ryan Kerrigan, a Joe Flacco, you draft Devontae Smith, bang, everybody wants to see why we draft them and stuff. So I agree. It goes both ways. But at the end of the day, I just need some football.
Yes. Absolutely. BLSG, shout out to you. Go check him out. He's a young kid that's doing Eagles content. So definitely go check him out. Go sub him up. You'll like his content. He said, I want to hear your thoughts on this question. Who do you want to start at right defensive end? Derek Barnett for young talent or Ryan Kerrigan for veteran talent? That's going to be interesting. Obviously, I don't think you can have Derek Barnett making $10 million coming off the bench. I think that would look kind of foolish. And I don't know, if Ryan Kerrigan's really, still able to start at the defensive end position. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I definitely got to say Barnett gets the start. Again, the Washington football team used him only 35%, but that is the best way to maximize his strength and his potential at this point of his career. We could play him a little bit more than 35, and who knows, maybe he gets going and he can do it. But absolutely. I'm telling you, the rotation for Brandon Graham and Kerrigan are going to be important, and I do think Derek Barnett, whether he's auditioning for us to re-sign him or a new contract, the guy got to play some football. Because a team's going to say he made $10 million and he did what? Yeah, miss me on that. I'll give you $3.5 million for a 1-year prove-it deal. So he's going to be – it's do or die for him.
It is, definitely. He's got to –
He's young, too.
He is, because we have to remember, he came in the league at 19 years old. So he's still very young. And have we seen his ceiling yet? I don't know. I want to lean towards yes, just because I'm frustrated with the amount of lack of production we've got out of him, and the lack, and the amount of, just injuries that he's had to face with, along the way as well. So, but man, we got all of a sudden we got 20. Now we got another 8 people in the chat. We got 23 people in here now. I think that might be the new record for the Nest Out West as far as live people as a number of people in the live stream.
So, now.
Shout out to the 24. Definitely. Thank you all. And if you haven't already, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Nest Out West. It's a Philly Fuego production always. You're going to enjoy it. I bring you all Eagles content 24/7, 365. Anytime Eagles news is breaking, I'm probably dropping content or I'm going live, one of the two. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you turn on that notification bell. That way you get notified of whenever I'm going to, be going live or dropping content, and you won't miss it. So yeah, the other question, that was and also too, you guys, like I said, go sub up my man Philly Mike. If you haven't done so already, you more than likely have. I think a lot of you guys who are coming into the live stream are from Mike's channel. So big shout out to you, Mike.
All good.
Thank you for bringing him over. I really, really appreciate it. But hey, if you haven't, the link's in the description. So make sure you go check them out. Go sub them up. Show the love. 25 strong. We had a quota now. So thank you guys so much. Very, very, very much. Everybody, you guys are the food and the water to the channel. Without you guys, we cannot continue to provide you the great content which we do, and continue to like, share, and subscribe to keep my dream alive. I am on that push for 1K. I am less than 50 subs away now, and it's getting closer and closer. It's getting really exciting. So I'm definitely much appreciated to you guys. Couldn't do it without each and every one of you. And Mike, who do you on either side of the ball or both? Who we got a lot of new pieces. We got some veteran guys on both sides. Who do you see stepping up as as like a vocal leader on this team this year?
I'm curious to see how Anthony Harris does. Like I said, we really didn't talk about him as much, but coming off a down year last year when everybody on the Vikings defense looked suspect. I mean, 1 year prior to that, he led the league in interceptions, had, I think, 6 interceptions, and that's pretty good at a safety position. Just has a tendency to be around the ball. Some of them were gimmies, I ain't going to front, but now you pair him up with a guy like Ronnie McLeod, who was playing his best football before he went down. Now this is another big injury for Ronnie McLeod. Hopefully he can get back and stay solid. But I think we're not talking enough about the veteran leadership from this secondary on the back end, the safeties, whether it's the free or the strong. I think it's going to provide a lot in a system like Jonathan Gannon's, where you're rotating coverage and you're disguising things. Ronnie McLeod coming off a safety blitz, Anthony Harris in the box dropping back, Darius Slay allowed to be more of a free roamer. We're not talking about this safety tandem as much, and I'm not trying to say this is Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor, but I'm trying to tell you guys, we've had great safety play for so long, and then it dropped when Malcolm Jenkins left, or Malcolm Jenkins started getting a little older. Ronnie McLeod wasn't playing. See, when Jenkins was here, Ronnie McLeod was kind of being that guy you're like, he's just not living up to it, but he really started to play football last year prior to the injury. So I want to see how that all comes around in a system of, and Gannon's been bringing the stuff out of a lot of DBs. Xavier Rhodes, Vikings defensive back, good guy, gets old, looks like he's washed, goes to the Colts, and he squeezes out the last remaining talent of a guy like Xavier Rhodes. So Ronnie McLeod, Anthony Harris trying to regain his, leading interception rate. McPherson being a guy who's young. But again, our defensive coordinator's best attribute is what he does with DB. So you never know if a guy like Maddox don't take another step, McPherson don't take another step, Jaquette, who's got the physical tools, don't take another step, because one of the things that we've been neglected of as a Philadelphia Eagle fan is player development. I love Doug Peterson to death. The dude put a ring on the finger, but players came in and either got worse or stayed the same and injured. So I just need to see development, and we got the young players to do that with. And it's going to be up to Nick and JG, the two main guns. Shaiken's still pretty good too. Miles Sanders had a smile from ear to ear talking about the run game and the screen game being introduced back in the right fashion. So we about to see, you know what I mean? Again, and that's why I'm optimistic about a lot of things. But Anthony Harris, and I went on a big rant. On the offensive side, there's not many veterans when it comes to skill positions. Everybody is young, minus Zach Ertz. It's the offensive line, and that is who's going to step up. We are going to go as the O-line and D-line take us, and I'm expecting, if healthy, people forget, man, that D-line is a Super Bowl winning D-line, Super Bowl winning O-line. It just hasn't been there because we've had to use backups after backups after backups. I'm trying to tell you, we back if healthy.
100%. You're spitting facts, Mike, right now. And, I think, that's a lot of people like to say, that's kind of a cliche, but it's very true. The games are won and lost in the trenches. And if that's going to be a focus of this team, and we got our offensive line coach back, like you said, we have our Super Bowl winning offensive line, outside of, Jordan Mailata. And to me, he's just as good now, if not better than Big V was when we won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, we're right there if you ask me, because, Jordan Mailata, I think we haven't even seen his ceiling because, we have to remember this kid, he came from playing rugby and his body is still getting in that football mode. And even more so his brain and the learning aspect of becoming a professional offensive lineman is still developing as well. So, I think the sky's the limit for Jordan Mailata. I think he's going to be a very dominant. I think he's going to be a dominant left tackle going forward. And I'm excited to see him because it's one thing to have guys transition from different sports. When you have a coach like he does, he could take it to a whole nother level. So it's gonna it's gonna be very, very interesting, definitely. And it's and I'm with you too. I don't necessarily need to see Dickerson out on the field this year, or we're talking offensive line. I really don't. He can learn just as well, on the sideline as he can on the field. And Jason Kelsey will still be able to teach him a lot this year.
Facts. Real quick, shout out to Slasher. And I did want to bring this up. He said, did you see Josh Sweat reply to that Jeff Mosher? I forget how to say his name, saying about his knee. Yes, listen. So ITB, Inside the Birds, Jeff Mosher, Adam Kaplan, they know all about the Eagles, blah, blah, blah. He puts up it on Twitter, I think, responding to the Jason Avant and Quentin McKell, the Q&A segment. And he was talking about needing depth at the defensive end position because Josh Sweat can't play a big role. He can't play more snaps really than what they gave him last year because of his knee history. And Josh Sweat quote tweeted and said, "Stop spreading this BS. My knee is perfectly fine."
Yeah.
Shout out to Big Sweat.
Definitely. You gotta put those guys in check sometimes. You gotta let the fans know what's really going on, and who better to believe than straight from the horse's mouth itself. So definitely,
facts.
Shout out to Jay Sweat for sure. I'm really excited to see him under Coach Rocker this year. I think he's gonna. He could. To me, I have a strong feeling that Josh Sweat could lead the team in sacks this year. I have a really, really strong feeling of that, especially if he stays healthy, and just the motor that kid has when he's going is something special. So I'm excited to watch him, produce out in that field this year.
Yeah, I agree. And soon enough, we will find out so many answers. Training camp, preseason, and like I said, it's a big deal for preseason because we didn't have it last year, and it was a struggle. So man, I can't wait to chop it up. Maybe like sooner rather than later. I'm gonna do a big thing on my channel. I'll probably get a boatload of these of the newer Eagle content creators, the JCs, the Nest Out West, the Bird Gangs, the AKs. My guy Eagle Slayer, low key, man, didn't try to tell me at a channel. He low key didn't tell me at a channel until I just stumbled upon it. You know what I mean? I found it.
Yep. Isn't that weird? How that weird? That sometimes it works out that way. Guys are real low key about their channels and things like that, and then you just kind of you kind of stumble upon it sometimes. I've done that before too. It's fun. Sometimes it's fun when you do that because it's like it's like a little diamond in the rough. But yeah, I mean,
exactly. My man, the Quez Watkins of YouTube. You know what I mean? Get him out. Get him out in the public.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Yeah, he's my breakout guy for the offense this year. I think Quez is gonna get on the field and he's gonna show us, what he really can do. I'm excited to see that because that in the short amount that we saw last year, we've seen some really, really explosive bursts from him, and I think he can, with the attention being on a lot of other pieces on this offense, I think Quez can be that, that sneaky one that slips through the cracks a lot of the time, and he's going to put up some numbers this year. I'm definitely hoping for that. That's for sure.
Facts,
yeah, we've been going for a little over an hour and a half long now, so we definitely love and appreciate each and every one of you guys that have joined the live stream so far. We've got 15 people in the live stream right now, so I think my guy's probably getting tired here. It's a work week. It's 10 o'clock on the East Coast.
It's exactly 10 o'clock where I'm at. Where are you? 10 o'clock. Where are your kids at? They in bed sleep, so I know where my kids are. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I see it in his eyes. So we're gonna wrap it up definitely. But yeah, I mean, we talked a whole bunch of Eagle stuff today. If you guys missed any of it, definitely make sure you watch it on the replay. Drop us some comments, things like that. Let us know what you felt about the live stream. We were definitely, like I said, we love and appreciate each and every one of you. And before we go, Mike, you got any last thoughts or comments for everybody out there?
Nope. Just let's get to training camp. Let's stay healthy and let's grind. I want to beat up on the Patriots and the Jets to make me feel even extra better going into the preseason. And follow your boy on Twitter, yo. Like, yo, I mean, it's a picture that's been going around. They have the young picture of the Hurts, Miles Sanders, Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, and Dallas Goedert, right? So I just took that picture, which is just a regular picture floating around the internet.
Yep.
And I posted it, but I just put their age over the top of them. Yeah, I mean, and this junk is going viral already, like 1,200 likes, like almost 200 retweets. Yeah, I mean, not no check marks retweeting it. I was hoping, I mean, get a little Jalen Reagor or Devontae Smith, but it's going there. Follow your boy on Twitter. That's where we talk Eagle news behind the YouTube scenes. Something happens, I go to Twitter first, then I come to the tube.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you guys, like I said earlier, if you haven't done so already, you've been living under a rock more than likely. Go make sure you sub up my guy, Philly Mike of the Philly Talk Podcast. He's always dropping more and more content each and every day. His channel is blown up in the last 2 years since he started it. So kudos to you, my guy. Keep doing your thing. I think a lot of us definitely, love and appreciate your work and your craft. So just keep doing your thing. And I look forward to working with you again. And like you said, let's get a big roundtable together once this thing starts popping off more and more. But yeah, I'll let you go. Definitely, I really appreciate your time tonight. And you taking out the time to come on my channel out of your busy schedule. I really, really appreciate it. The respect is definitely there. And you know what? Let's definitely do this again. I really had fun talking with you. Eagles Talk. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, let's definitely do it again, my friend.
Yeah, shout out to Vic 3. He said the young and the relentless. I liked it. I'm about to take that from you, my guy.
Right, that's sweet right there. All right, Eagles fans, Eagles Nation, all my Phillies out there, all the fans of the Philly Talk Podcast that came over to my live stream. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for subbing up to the channel. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. That way you don't miss any of my content. And until next time, we fly until we die. Stay mean, stay green. Thanks for viewing me on your screen. And as always, most important,